So what are the freedoms of living in a democracy? So our learning intention is that you'll understand how people with shared beliefs and values work together to achieve a civic goal. Oops. So 10 facts about Australian democracy. So it's pretty interesting to find out what it means. I will show you this, but also I will keep it on the OneNote as well. Alright, so what type of democracy do we have? So have a think about this as I explain what each of them are. So an absolute monarchy. So an absolute monarchy is a form of rule where one person has supreme authority. So there's a little hint there where there is a crown. So who might have that? Direct democracy is in a direct democracy, which is sometimes known as a pure democracy, all the people vote on policies and laws. And representative democracy. In a representative democracy, groups of people vote for individuals to represent them at government level. So we have a picture here of our current Prime Minister and our oppositional leader of opposition. Alright, so there are 3 levels of government. So it's really important to know the difference between these. So we've got the federal, the state, or the territory, and our local government. So anything federal is the whole of Australia. It involves every part of it. So the federal makes sure it raises the money to run the country by collecting taxes on it, on the income. And the money is spent on national matters, so anything to do with the whole of Australia. So trade, defence, immigration, environment, anything that affects all of Australia is that. The second level is the state or the territory, and so they raise money from taxes again, but they receive half of the money from the federal government. So the federal government certainly gives money to states and territories, and it spends it on like the state. So schools, housing, hospitals, police, ambulances, railway, and major roads. So those are important things that are affecting the state. And local. So local, of course, for us is the Redland City Council, and they raise money from rates paid by the local property owners, and receive grants from federal and state government. So it's nothing gets paid. For grants they have to apply and see whether, and the federal and the state government see whether that it's good enough to spend money on. And local matters, anything to do with local things, so rubbish collection, water, local roads, pet control, and town planning. So maybe next time mum and dad get their rates, ask if you can see on the back page, and it tells you what the rates are being got, what is being paid for. So it'll say like what your rubbish is, like whether you have an environment bin, and tells you the fees of that, and then like the water, and because you have to pay a fixed thing for water, and like not just for the water consumption, but like the treatment of it, and for sewerage, things that are local. So if you have a pet, also the local government has to look after that. Oops. And all right, so how representatives are elected. So once you're 18, you can register to vote. So any election, so federal, state, local, that's what you're going to be. You can then vote to do that. So you vote for who's going to represent the locals and states and federal governments. So everyone, Australian citizens who are 18 years of age and over, must enrol to vote, and voting is compulsory in federal elections and referendums for enrolled electors. Not every country in the world that voting is compulsory. In fact, there are quite a few countries that do not have a democracy, and they don't care what the people think, and the leaders just are the ones who decide on what's happening, and it's too bad, so sad. But in some places who do have a democracy, not everybody has to vote. But in Australia, it is compulsory. So people who are not entitled to vote are people who are incapable of understanding the nature and significance of enrolment and voting. So people who might have some difficulties in their mental state, I suppose. People, with intellectual impairments and things like that. People who are quite unwell, older people who are like dementia or something like that. They don't need to vote. So people who are prisoners serving a sentence of 5 years or longer, they're not allowed to. They obviously gave up their rights when they did the wrong thing. And people who have been convicted of treason and not pardoned. So treason is somebody who has betrayed the country. So done something wrong against the Australian values, and who obviously most likely have been in jail for that. Maybe they're still in jail. I'll also put this website on our content library as well, so you can have a look at some of our statistics. So these are just some of the things that when we vote, you might, because in fact we've got an election coming up quite soon, and you might go with mum and dad and see some of the things that are happening. So we've got some of our how to vote forms. So obviously these people are wanting you to vote for these people particularly. And then this is the ballot paper. So that's what a ballot looks like. So obviously it's an old one, it's not for this election, but you have the whole lot of all of the people who you want to represent, and then you say 1 to 7. It doesn't have to be that order. You might want this person to be number 1 and this person to be 2, etc. So you just get to vote that way.